Stephanie, I ended up having five offers on that one house I put on yesterday.
You can be me, we look kinda alike.
Yeah. And making one person happy, but four's gonna be really mad. I didn't write it, I didn't write any, but you know how that is, they get mad. It's real estate, it had never been like this one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whew.
That clock's wrong.
I got 58.
5:58.
I got 58.
So we can go back home and eat some black eyed pea and cornbread.
I can eat fast.
We can hungry Salt Joe.
So whenever it's time, just unmute and then. Okay.
Stephanie, you know, moving out of a place after only 5 years, still we brought everything from the other place, but we had, over 500 pounds of filing to shred. And the time before we had more than that because Dobie took it off. I only kept 2010. So I had to just keep 5 years because for my office. Over 500. Files have got so thick, you know, they're. First ones we had were, the contract was one page, the listing is one page, and the acceptance.
1 minute.
And now
That's
these are
1 minute,
to do a listing and sale.
All right, it's 6.
6 o'clock.
All right. Going to prayer.
Gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for once again being able to serve this great community. We ask for your anointing during this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's it.
All right, we call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Councilmember Dietz. Councilmember Bolden.
Here.
Councilmember Blevins.
Here.
Councilmember Sansing.
Here.
Excuse me. Councilmember Ray. Councilmember Mashburn.
Here.
Councilmember Traylor.
Here.
Councilmember Twitty.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Raines.
Here.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm here.
I have one absent, sir.
All right. We do have a quorum. I think we have one item to discuss. Mr. Blevins, do you have a motion you'd like to make?
I'd like to make a motion to rescind the contract that was approved on the last city council meeting involving the commercial purchase of the 2 units on Marshall Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, discussion. Brian, you want to?
Yes, sir. So during that meeting, even before the meeting happened, I looked at this letter of intent, and it didn't look right to me. And I came in and I was open-minded, and I said, all right, like those 2 lots of land are right there on Marshall Road. You know, we're paying all the closing costs, which just isn't right. I was so weirded out by the value of the 2 lots of land right there by the hospital. So when it came time for discussion, it kind of seemed like it was rushed, but I managed to stop us. And I asked specifically, you know, where the appraisal was. And I was told that there was not an appraisal done. And I said, well, do you know when the last appraisal was done? And he said, no, I do not know when the last appraisal was done. There was multiple other items that were discussed. I kind of felt like I may have gotten shot down on a lot of them. It doesn't matter. The end result is the vote happened. Everybody voted for it except for me. I abstained, and the people who were not here didn't vote. It ate at me to the point where on Monday, I decided to FOIA request with Cheryl to ask it for all the invoices for the last appraisals that have been done for the last 6 months. I found out that there was an appraisal done on these 2 lots of land not even a month and a half ago, or about a month and a half ago, for these 2 lots of land. And whereas you said there was no appraisal and you valued the land at $330,000, come to find out the land was valued at appraised at $475,000, which is like almost $250,000 difference. So I don't know. I think that this needs to be repealed or rescinded. And I mean, I also think there's other things we need to discuss with this, but that's probably the biggest one right now.
Okay, I went back and listened to it. I was asked, do you know what the last appraisal was? I said I didn't know, but it was more than the value of the property we're selling for. And if full disclosure would have been just to bring the appraisal and show it to y'all, just because I disagreed with it didn't mean I shouldn't show it to you. It is free land. We are getting $280-something thousand for nothing. So if I misled anybody, I apologize for that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes. Councilmember Sensing.
this council and this city has a long history of giving good discounts to businesses. I remember we sold Triangle Engineering that entire building for $1.
Okay.
Anytime that we have an existing business that wants to expand and we can encourage them to expand by what's going to be a new hospital in Jacksonville, and we give them a good deal, that's only good for the city. First off, we didn't pay a dime for the land. What they're paying us, even after a little closing clause, is free and clear. They're getting a good deal, so they're more likely to want to purchase and put here right here in Jacksonville by the hospital. If they're expanding their business, they're hiring different people. That's good for the city of Jacksonville. We have a history of giving businesses good deals to get them to stay here, expand here, and come here. I see nothing wrong with giving this business a good deal and encouraging them to invest in Jacksonville.
If you don't mind, you talk, Councilmember Sansing, about how we give a good deal and we're known for giving a good deal. So why not just come out the gate and be like, hey, we're giving a great deal. It's $475,000, not $330 like we said. Like, I mean, why not give the right appraisal? And also, again, I don't think most of this even has to do with the numbers, to be honest. It's the fact that I asked about the appraisal, and then I asked a second time about when the last appraisal was done, and I was told there wasn't one.
No, I said I don't know.
And I had to pull teeth to even get it.
Okay, you're
I mean, like,
repeating
I asked for it initially. No one knew where the original one was. People didn't even know that there was one. Did the people that were selling this to, did they know that there was an appraisal done on their land that they're trying to buy?
I have no idea. I don't know them.
I got it.
Yes. Councilmember Traylor.
All right. First off, I have
Pull your
to,
mic down, Mike.
agree with Brian. He did ask if there was an appraisal, and we were told that there wasn't one. I believe that. And I think we should have been told that there was one.
And I should have brought it.
I definitely agree. Now some other things came up during that, and that was the fact that the hospital board, correct, gave the land to the city of Jacksonville.
Correct.
We can only sell that land, if I understand right, to a business that is going to be in the medical profession.
Correct.
I'd like to see that in writing. I mean, that's what we have come to. If that's what we've come to, I have to have some faith in what I'm being told is correct.
There is a bill of assurance on file. Stephanie, do you know where it is? Or maybe Cheryl has it, but there was a bill of assurance on all that land over there will only be used for medical purposes.
I would like to say that before
Okay, hold on.
this happened,
I'm
before
not
we
done,
found out
Brian.
about the appraisal,
Mr.
I
Brian,
did
Mr.
Brian,
send
Point of order.
an
Hold on,
amendment.
Brian.
Out of
I did
order.
send an amendment in. I'm
Councilmember,
sorry.
Hold on, I'm not finished.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm sorry, sir. There was a pause. I thought you were, my
I
bad,
was-
I'm sorry.
I think there may be a delay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Is there a bill of assurance that we could see?
I
Yeah.
haven't seen one. That's not to say there isn't one, but we can ask Jimmy. I'm sure he can pull that for us.
So, and then my next question would be, in that bill of assurance, is it the city can only sell it to someone that's using it in the medical field, or can whoever buy it then in turn use it for whatever they want? That would be a question I would have. Because the appraised value of $475,000 is a lot different if you are restricted in who can buy the property and what they can use it for. Because it's not a restaurant coming in here can't pay, they might be willing to pay $475,000, but if the property cannot be used for that, it's not worth $475,000. Did the appraiser know that?
all I can do is get you a copy of the, bill of assurance. And it says that whole area will only be used for medical purposes. I saw it a year ago.
Like I said, I mean, only thing I have now with it, it's not so much the price, it's the trust.
Yes, I understand.
And now I'm done, Mr. Blevins.
Again, I apologize, Councilmember Traylor. What I was gonna say was, I, after looking at all this and seeing the price of land, I contacted and sent in an agenda amendment to where I wanted to add to this contract a right of first refusal for the city of Jacksonville to be able to buy the land back at that $290,000 value. And also add a 3-year development clause to it, that if they did not develop, the land as though they are saying that they wanted to put, a medical building on, that we had the ability to get that land back also, again, at the price that was paid for it.
Okay, does anybody else have any comments they'd like to say?
Well, I'd like to
Yes,
inject a little bit.
Councilmember Deeds.
Okay, so the bill of assurance and it should be on the bill of assurance and the recorded deed. We should have a copy of that since we own it, on what the land can be used for. That'll be public record. We can find that out. To the other side, that I kind of agree with Mike about the land value, but now I'm in a different field, so I can tell you from experience right now that what a piece of property appraises for is not what a piece of property is worth. Piece of property is worth what a willing buyer is willing to pay and a willing seller is willing to sell it for. Okay? That's an appraisal. I can get appraisal on any one of the city council members' house, Brian, yours included, and I can get 3 different appraisers and I can get 3 different values, and they could vary on a residential between $20,000 and $60,000. It's happening right now. On a commercial piece of property, that could be even higher, because it's only good for the person that it's intended to use it. So, like you're saying, if it's intended for the medical field, that's going to limit a lot of people's use over there. And our property in Jacksonville, unfortunately, commercial property, is not abounding $100 or $150 an acre. It's more like $75,000 to $85,000 acres. So that's why I was saying I didn't feel like that if we got $295 and the money it was giving to us, that was a good deal, because we don't have to maintain it. We get another business coming in, and we don't have to pay taxes on it, which probably don't anyway, because we're city entity. But I'm just saying.
And we'll collect taxes on it.
Yeah, we'll collect taxes now, but there is a big difference, and that's something to consider. So with that being said, appraisals don't really concern me. It's what someone's willing to pay for a willing property and what you feel like it's worth.
Councilmember Twitty.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, Mike, and what you're saying, Terry, as well. I don't think that's the problem that Brian has, and correct me if I'm wrong, The problem is not the appraisal. The problem was the question that was asked and was not told the truth
Right.
on it.
Well, I agree.
That's the problem.
I understand what the-
All what y'all are talking about is two different things here.
Right. Well, I'm explaining, Marion, to everybody what an appraisal is and what value is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just because I didn't agree
And-
with it, didn't mean I shouldn't
yeah.
have brought it.
Yeah, I mean, it should have been presented if there was an appraisal on it, and.
When
you
the
know,
question was asked, was there appraisal, the answer should have been yes.
Yes.
I don't have it tonight, but I'll get it for you, or whatever it was.
Right. I agree.
And I believe that's what Brian is trying to tell everybody.
So, and the question
It is, even
I
when
would've
I
asked
asked the
this-
second time, and I wanna know who made the commitment, who ordered the appraisal? Like, who made the commitment to have the appraisal done? I mean, we paid $2,000 for it, so I mean, like, if an appraisal didn't matter, then why did we even pay $2,000? Why did we even go this route?
It
Bob,
might be.
did you want to answer that?
You want to answer?
No, Bob. I was asking Bob if he would like to answer it.
I'm going to guess the city's audited and they have to know, like a bank, what their value and what their property's worth, so they have it on record.
Well, now,
Oh, no, it's
the
only worth
appraisal,
what somebody will pay for it though, right?
the appraisal
Well-
was asked for in February, correct?
Right, and I think
So
Brian's
who asked for
question-
the appraisal? That's the question.
Yeah.
Right,
I think Mr. Oakley did.
at your direction.
The what?
Mr. Oakley.
You requested Oakley to ask for an appraisal, correct?
I think he told me, but yes, okay, we'll say that.
Hey, just so we're clear, Oakley requested the appraisal, or you asked Oakley to get the appraisal?
He told me we normally get appraisals. And so he ordered it, I said, okay, and so he ordered it. So I guess it's at my direction.
Okay.
So again, why didn't we use it?
Well, Brian,
And I told you, because I don't like it, doesn't mean I shouldn't have brought it. And that, I'm taking responsibility and, you know, just saying, I'm sorry.
Respectfully, just because you don't like something doesn't mean that it's not there.
I admitted that, and I'm sorry.
And I think at this point, it's where do we go from here? Personally, I have a big issue of transparency and trust in government overall. And I think that we should all hold ourselves to a higher standard than what was shown and displayed at the last meeting, point blank, period.
Okay. Duly noted.
Moving from that, just because something is sold for a certain value doesn't mean that it's not, doesn't mean that that's not worth what it is, you know? Like after the Civil War, we sold hundreds and hundreds of acres of woodlands and just completely clear-cutted it for pennies on the acre. And it was worth way more than that. That sent our entire state into a recession. And we could have gotten more overall if we would have actually valued ourselves higher. And the money doesn't matter. It's just a number. But the thing is that we can value ourselves higher. We can potentially get businesses that see the value that we have and go into a sale transaction. But for us to simply lower the bar and just say that, oh, it's because I didn't like that number or whatever, like that's not okay with me.
I totally agree, and I've told you, I can only say it so many times. I should have brought it, should have given it to you, and I didn't, and I apologize.
Okay, let me say something, you don't mind?
Yes, sir.
First of all, I'm in total disagreement. The fact that we did not know there was an appraisal done, I want to make sure I bring clarity to that, which you've already addressed that as far as I'm concerned. Secondly, we have to understand that even though the mayor has done this, again, I disagree totally, because he should have told us. Now we need to deal with the fact of the land being sold, because the land has to be sold, so we don't have to worry about it. So are we going to just discount this sale because of this incident, are we just gonna go, what are we gonna do? That's the bottom line. I'm like, when Councilmember Raines said, okay, we done dealt with this, he done addressed it, what we gonna do now? Because if we rescind on this, let's remember, you're dealing with businesses. So if you rescind, that gives us a black eye. And that's just
The
fact.
bigger black eye would be us losing $200,000 of money that could go to an already, monetarily strapped city.
Okay, let me ask you something.
And I, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead.
When you own property, you understand about selling property. I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. When you own property, especially commercial property, you understand about selling property. That's property that I'd love to sell. I can't sell it for the price that it's worth. So you have to take an undercut. Again, the seller versus the buyer. So we're in a situation now where we can either sell it, have this money that we're getting come to our city, or we can rescind it and then reverse everything, and then whatever.
Give ourselves a black
Yeah,
eye.
I mean, folk gonna look at, go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Those two lots now, they're vacant, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
How long has when did the hospital board get possession of those lots?
In the 60s, I believe,
Okay, and when did the city take them over from the hospital board?
last year.
Last year. So the hospital board had those properties available for sale for anyone in the medical field to purchase since the 1960s, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And they're still vacant.
About 20-something years ago, Horizons bought the other lot on the corner where the eye clinic is. North Flashy Women's Clinic bought it maybe 25 years ago. I don't know exactly.
Okay, I mean, I guess my thinking along those lines are that if we have the opportunity for someone to build on it, then we should sell it at a price that they're willing to pay.
That's,
And if that's $290,000, it's $290,000. Because it does go back into what it is. The appraised value, I can have something that's appraised at $1 million, but if nobody wants it, it's not worth $1 million.
Correct. And I've admitted that I erred, and I'm sorry, and I won't do it again.
And the major thing too, for the council, Mayor, is that, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, from this day forward, we'd like to more a surety before we make a decision. So we'll know that it's factual and that you haven't forgotten.
I will never forget this day.
And it does go back to a lot of the approving things on, I don't know if that was this a resolution?
Yes.
So it only had one reading.
Right.
Okay.
something else I'd like to say, just Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind. So on this stuff, I think that we have a city attorney, and I think that you probably ought to have access to know all this stuff all the time.
Thank you.
Because I'm just going to say, I'm in the real estate field and I can sell it, and I can list it, but I'm only one part of a transaction. There's a title company that has an attorney on staff.
That's right.
And that attorney approves everything. So I always tell the people, I'm going to help you get the property. Your mortgage company is going to get you the money, but the title company is going to protect everybody involved, including you, the mortgage company, and that's their job, and they get paid for it. Stephanie is our protection.
That's right.
And we need everything
agree.
to run through Stephanie, because I will feel comfortable if something goes through her, that it'll be handled professionally, and I just think that everything needs to go through Stephanie, and she needs to be involved in everything. And I really think that the city council needs to be involved too, but really Stephanie, because we don't need any more black eyes, and we want to be protected, and the city needs to be protected.
Yeah.
That's our job.
I would like to say something about the commercial purchase letter of intent, okay? When the story was told to start off this, again, the mayor said that the land was $330,000 and that we had an offer of $290,000. He has already been speaking with Mr. Brooks and Mr. Bowe, and I believe that this $290,000 price was offered due to the fact that they were told that the land was worth $330,000. I know you're like, hey, let's go ahead and accept this $290,000 offer because we have it on the table. But I feel that that $290,000 offer would not have been the number if they were told that the item was worth $475,000. If they were told that the land came back and appraised at $475,000, I believe we would have seen a higher letter of intent. Because I know if I tried to buy something at, you know, close to $500,000, like I probably would offer more than 300 for it at least, you know? I mean, $40,000 is a lot different than 180.
Well, I need some buyers like you then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do, because I'll tell you, not disrespectful, Brian, but in the commercial world, if it's $500,000, I'll get $300,000 offers or $220, because right now the commercial market and the commercial property is way down.
Yeah.
And that's everywhere. And I'm telling you, it's only worth what someone's willing to pay, and money in the bank is worth a whole lot more than somebody sitting there paying taxes and everything. Some of these properties that we've been sitting on in Jacksonville that we're marketing now, I mean, these sellers are paying $3,000-$4,000 a year on taxes, vacant buildings.
Oh, God.
And they need to sell them, and they're selling them. But with them selling, that's a good and a bad thing. Because if they sell them and we get new industry and new business in here, we got people paying taxes, and we might have more people being employed. But it's only worth what someone's willing to be paid. And the people that have the money right now are doing real well.
And let me add to that too, Councilmember Deeds, so our fellow council member can understand. I understand what you're saying about the 294,000, Councilmember Brian, that we are accepting. And that if it would have been more offered, maybe they would have given more. But if we rescind on this, that land has said another 20 years. Because word is gonna spread, they made a deal with us and they backed out.
We didn't have all
So-
the information when we made the
I
deal.
understand it, and that's, and see, that's been brought forward, we understand that, we're dealing with that, but now we're dealing with the outsiders looking in. I understand that, he's totally wrong in what he did, I agree on that, but like I said earlier, where do we go from here? If you all wanna vote to rescind it, we can rescind it, that's no problem, that's what you wanna do. But I'm gonna tell you every time, I'm a no vote, because it's a business transaction.
Well, let me ask you this. Here's the way to look at it. If you got something, I do it all the time, and if you got something that's given to you, and you're going to keep paying on it, and you're going to sell it whenever you get the best offer you can get, which who knows when, or you're going to take the cash and put it in your coffers and start building interest and have that money to back up to do something else. You know, I hate to say it, but most of the people I deal with, if they need to sell, they're going to take the money and put it in their coffers and move on.
God. Oh my God.
Well, Brian, this is the real world out here
No,
for me in real
the
estate.
real world is that you knew about the appraisal beforehand.
I didn't know
Didn't
about
you?
the appraisal.
You knew about the appraisal before the meeting.
No, sir.
That's why you know about that price.
Nobody knew about the
I
appraisal,
didn't know about
Brian.
the appraisal.
You know, you need to stop tripping. Nobody knew about
I didn't
appraisal.
know about it in
We didn't
appraisal.
find out till it was brought to our
There
attention.
was many people that knew about the appraisal, okay?
Who knew about it?
Me and Mr. Oakley's only two.
Yeah, I didn't know about
I
no
didn't know anything
appraisal.
about it.
That's the only ones I know that knew it.
I mean, I'm with you, Brian, on not knowing about it, and you know,
I've admitted my wrongdoing.
yeah, being honest, and I'm just telling you. But as far as holding on to the property and trying to sell it, I couldn't do that because I know the market too well in Jacksonville and everywhere, and they'd love to get $400,000 for that piece right there on North James coming down. That's been up there for 10 years now. Backs behind Second Baptist. It's 2 acres in a building. If you want to give them $250, they'll take it. It's a whole lot better piece of property, and they can do whatever you want. There's back to a convenience store. I'm telling you, the values is what someone's willing to pay.
Any other council member wish to say anything? Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay.
I'm sitting in a total different seat than most of y'all because 2.5 years ago, I was drugged through the paper for 8 months for something I did not do. And I know y'all are tired of hearing about it, Bob. I do believe that Councilmember Smith said she took full responsibility. She apologized. Okay, this still bothers me to this day.
I understand.
No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you're sitting there, I've said, I'm sorry, what else can I do? I don't know what the answer is. But we've had council members sit up here and not tell the truth about people. And you know what I'm talking about.
You have discussed it with me, yes.
So what are we saying? We can all do wrong and just say, I'm sorry? Is that the answer?
But the question is to never do it again.
Oh, okay.
But what good is your word at this point?
Right.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
I understand.
I have a question. Who gets the deeds to the land that are giving to us, or where are those deeds at? Where's the deed to the land by Wendy's? Where's that deed at? Because when I was accused of being better than everybody else for having my sign,
I guess it's at the county.
when I got permission to put it there, and then I was given permission to put a sign up on the land that was supposedly given to us by the Wilsons, right next door to Wendy's, okay? And then I am being just ridiculed, along with my husband, on social media. So I had no idea. I asked permission by the person I thought owned it, had always owned it, the Wilsons. And I was told it was given to the city, so I called the city clerk and there's nothing on it. So I didn't believe it. I left my sign there, and then I got called all kinds of names for doing that. Now, I've said it 1,000 times in this room. I am a huge volunteer of this town. I'm a big supporter of Jacksonville. Young, old, it doesn't matter to me. But when I have to sit up and defend my name and my character over something that is not my fault, I have a problem with that. So I don't know where the deeds are either. I don't know what the deal was on that, but I'd like to see it.
Where are the deeds, Stephanie? Where do you find it? Is that the county?
I mean, if somebody gives you the
County
land, do
courthouse,
you
they're
not
all
have
recorded at the
paperwork?
Courthouse.
It was filed at the courthouse.
Yeah, they're all recorded in at the.
So
at
we
the
don't
courthouse.
have copies of what we made on that land here.
We should have. I mean, somebody ought to have some
That's
copy
what I'm
of it.
asking. Where's it
But the-
at?
All of that is supposed to be on file in my office in the deed cabinet. I can only file what is given to me.
Well, I would think that everything that the city owns
Should
ought to
given
be
to them.
recorded in one cabinet and in a place where it's available for everybody to view.
That's my
Do you
understanding.
agree?
They're locked in
Yeah.
the vault, so
Should be
that
even
so that
FOI.
it's
Yeah,
fireproof.
but they're all filed at the county courthouse.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully they are.
Well,
Because
the
if they're
deed
not,
was
somebody
given
else
to
might
us.
own them too.
Stephanie filed it, and I don't know.
Mike Wilson filed it.
Mike Wilson did?
Mike Wilson filed it, okay, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Here. Mr. Mayor, do you know where the deeds are to the property?
No, I do not. If you look at pages, it's listed as City of Jacksonville. That means it's been filed at the county courthouse. I don't know where the physical deeds are.
We can request a certified copy. It won't be the original, but it will be certified.
Well, you just
That
said
would've
that we're
been-
supposed to have copies here. Why are they not here?
Actually, no, the original comes back to us. The
Comes
co-
back to
the
us
county
once we
keeps-
own it.
The county
It's-
keeps a certified copy.
They keep a certified copy in the county. Once it's recorded, and they send it back to us, the original deed. But we should have a copy, but, I mean, that should be in a secure place anyway. Everything that we own ought to be in a secure
Well, if
place.
things are
Right,
not
but we were
given
just
to-
told that it's not in a secured place.
Well-
If he doesn't know where it's at, if it's not in Susan's office, where is
it's
it?
supposed to be. So when we have questions, we can ask and she can tell us. But if she doesn't get it, she can't tell us if she doesn't have it. So I
That-
left my sign there long story, I left the sign there because there was no copy, she knew nothing about it.
And it's not just deeds. It's easements, rights of way, all contracts.
I mean, I never had the deed to give to you, so. And
Are you
Mike
talking to
Wilson,
me or to Susan?
Susan. So if
when do we get?
Susan didn't get it, I don't know
I
why.
looked it up online, and it looks like it was filed in August of 2020.
2020.
So we do have.
So who is it filed by?
Mike Wilson. Mike Wilson is the one who prepared the document.
Mike Wilson prepared the document and files it. He takes it to the court, asks court has to record it. They send us back, should send us back a copy of the deed. Where it goes from there, I don't know, but it should be in Susan's office in a secure place.
Well, let's not get hung up on this one deed because there's a whole lot of other stuff missing.
Right, this just opened up a whole can of worms.
Last question, are we talking about
Yeah.
something that Mr. Blevins is wanting to repeal? Or are we talking about a whole other can of worms
Right.
that I know nothing about?
Right.
Right.
We need to stay on task.
You're right.
Okay. So I think
Call for the question.
okay, so the question before us is to rescind the resolution to enter into a purchase agreement, which I haven't signed or entered into yet, because they still have a lot of work to do before they get it done, and or to not. So a yes vote means we rescind it, a nay vote means we don't rescind it.
But I have another question for Brian. If you're wanting it rescinded, what do you want to happen after that?
I want it rescinded, and I would like to talk to them, like, I want to know if they knew that, if they made their $290,000 offer before or after they heard that it was worth $330,000. I think that we go back to them and be like, hey, look, this land is actually worth this much money. Are you still interested in it? And then we renegotiate.
I don't think I told them how much it appraised for.
So they made the decision for the price that they gave us with
They just
the,
arbitrarily,
right.
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, so the question's been called. It's time to vote. And I think I'd like to do it by roll call. Roll call, Susan. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's make it clear. A yes vote means we rescind the order. A no vote means we don't rescind the order. Is everybody clear? Any questions on what we're voting on?
And
What-
rescinding means we pull back the deal, correct?
Right, we pull the deal off the table. And
revisit it.
Can I ask a question?
if they're willing to, I don't know if they're willing to.
One more question, if she'll answer it. I'd like Tara deals in properties and stuff like this, and I'd like her, if she will give it her opinion, because I value her opinion too. She deals in properties and stuff, so excuse me, I'm sorry. Tara, if Tara would,
Councilmember Smith.
Councilmember Smith, if you would inject a little bit on properties, values, and appraisals.
She really doesn't have to if she don't want to.
I know, I was just asking if she wanted to.
I'm sure she can speak for herself.
Councilmember Deep,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't have any experience in commercial property sales or appraisals.
Okay.
All right, so everybody clear what we're voting on?
I'm clear on the vote. I do not have, this is way too much for us to not know to be voting on this.
Well, it's either we're gonna rescind the agreement to sell the property or we're not.
What are you saying, Rose?
I mean, like I said, where do we actually go from here? You know, because we as a council represent all of our citizens and are supposed to help the mayor operate the city the way that the citizens would like. And we don't have clear transparency. We don't have all of the information that we need. And I also don't have trust in the words now, because you can say literally anything and it not be true at this point. Again, respectfully, your words mean nothing. Where's paper? I don't have anything in front of me. I don't have that appraisal. I don't have a copy of the deed.
Okay, so, yes, Mr. Traylor, Councilmember Traylor.
I just want to address what you're saying, Rosa, and I get it, and that's where we as a council moving forward are gonna have to be more diligent. And if we ask a question and we don't have an answer that we feel in writing that satisfies our needs, we don't approve something. We don't vote for something. And the problem with this is that's going forward. It's not this. It's going forward.
Right.
We have to do that. I mean, and it's not just the mayor. I've had problems in the past with other people on having trust issues because you feel like you can trust what is being said, but everybody, when they're telling a story, paints it in their favor. I mean, if you can find me a person that when they're telling a story and they're wanting you to do something, they're not going to paint it in a favor to get what they want. They're not out there. I mean, you can be as good a person as you want to, but you're still going to do it to the best of your favor, to point it in your favor. It's not saying that you're going to necessarily tell something that's not true, but you're still going to make it go into your favor. And right now, I'm in the same position you are. I have trust issues. And going forward, I'm still going to have trust issues, and I won't want to see it. But I'm satisfied with where we are for right now on this.
And let me add to that also, that one thing that Councilmember Deets said was very important, that we want our attorney, our city attorney, to see any transaction that we go through, even if we selling a roll of toilet paper. We would like for the attorney to check the price of the toilet paper and how many sheets on there before we make a decision. And that way, when something's presented, we can say, Attorney Friedman, have you looked at it? What do you think? I think it's a good deal. I don't think we should do it. You see what I'm saying? From this day
I
forward.
would like to see contracts.
Yeah, from this
before
day
it's signed.
forward is the way that will roll. Because even in this, if you'd known, you could have said, well, yeah, I got a copy of it, the appraisal right here in front of me. It was ran such a thing. So
Exactly.
if we keep our attorney in the loop, which is what covers all of us business people, out behind is our attorney. Attorney tell you no, attorney say yeah, attorney say shut up, whatever attorney say.
Right.
So,
It's hard for me to do my job when I don't have all the facts.
well, you're gonna have all the facts from this
Hard
day
for
forward.
all of us to do
Yeah.
our job when we don't
Yeah.
have the facts.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And it's one thing to paint something in a certain light. It's a whole nother thing to lie.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And Councilmember Traylor, I would just like to say, there is definitely a big difference between your buddy telling you a story to get a good deal, or a flea market guy trying to tell you, a crazy story to get a better value, than someone who took an oath to the city, just like all of us took, to represent these individuals of this city.
Not disagreeing, Brian.
I have a question. Stephanie, did you have any knowledge of this appraisal before this instance?
No.
She did not.
So, and did you have any red flags like Councilmember Blevins was discussing?
I got the letter of intent when I was writing the resolution for you guys to approve the execution. I wasn't involved in the transaction or the discussion for the sale of the property or the price of the property. I kind of got that information a few days before you guys did.
Right.
So that raised some flags for me, to be honest.
Right. So, my issue in this is that we're asking a lot of you, right? And you didn't have this information. What I'm hearing is that you were not given adequate time to be able to really get the whole picture, right?
Right.
And so, like, we need to talk about that too, of what do we need to do for you to make your job obtainable.
Having the documentation that's necessary would be helpful. Being able to see contracts before they're signed and sent out would be helpful. Being in the loop when things are negotiated so I can have input in terms that are agreed upon before it gets to us. When I say us, I mean you and the council members to vote on, that would be helpful. When we come in on the back end after things have already been negotiated or signed, executed, mailed off, it's a little late at that point.
Right.
Have you always been behind the ball, or have you been?
I haven't seen a lot of contracts, to be honest. There's probably some that I don't even know about, but there's some that I found out through another director that had been signed and executed essentially without my knowledge. So I don't even know what I don't know, to answer your question.
That needs to stop.
Yeah.
Everything needs to go through you.
Right.
Just like I'm appalled that you are going through so much and not given this information. You have a lot of responsibility on your shoulders as our city attorney, and we should respect you in that.
Agreed.
And we should be giving you this information regardless of if we agree on it or not. And for me to find out now in this emergency meeting that you haven't seen other contracts, like what contracts haven't you seen?
We don't know, she hasn't seen them.
Okay, let's call for the question.
Yeah,
So-
we're chasing rabbits, we're not talking about the issue at hand. So she sees almost every contract I sign before I sign
I
it.
still know, Bob.
Almost.
Before we start speaking more mistruths to the council, let's be honest. There's one that I haven't seen, the option to lease. Still have not seen that. It took me 2 weeks to get a response from you about who maintains the property, but I still haven't seen the contract. And there were
I
issues
thought you
with.
were emailed it. I thought-
Absolutely not. There were issues with that last year, and it renews yearly. And I told you that we needed to modify that before you sign it. And I didn't even know that it was signed and sent off until Kevin asked me who needs to maintain that property. And I said, well, that option to lease is actually up, so we can renegotiate that.
You will have that option tomorrow.
I was asked to sign deeds this morning, and I went to Steph and said, is it all right for me to sign these deeds? And come to find out, council hasn't even seen this proposal yet. And I was gonna sign the deeds this morning.
Right. Those are the deeds from August.
Right,
They need to be approved by council,
Yeah,
right.
especially given the current situation.
I was sent a
Everything needs to go
I was
through
sent
council.
a digital contract that was supposed to be signed. I've never seen the contract or signed it. I've only seen a copy of it digitally, which is
Which-
unsigned.
Which contract is this?
A contract for employment for Teresa Watson. She sent me a copy of her employment contract, and I assumed someone would get with me about, it never came before council.
That also needs to go.
Did she not retire?
Before council.
She did, but we've hired her back as a
Well, we
consultant.
haven't yet.
She's working.
you
She's
have-
working unpaid right now.
Y'all have to approve her contract if there is one.
I was told that she's
Well, I
been
got a
working
copy of
since
the
March
contract.
1st and hasn't
No,
been paid.
no, she's not under contract.
Okay.
Right, she's not under contract, but from what I'm hearing is that she's still doing business on behalf of the city, which means that she is working.
She is working.
Well,
Yes.
we're negotiating a contract.
You don't negotiate and have them still do the job and not be getting paid for 2 months.
Right.
After this, I definitely would like to make a motion to go into executive session.
You're not even here.
Not even here. We can't go into
How can we
executive
do that?
session.
We should be able to go into executive session. If I'd have
Do
known
it-
that was an
you
option,
can
I
do
would
it
have
on
came
the-
down there.
You should have
Or-
came.
I don't think that was on the agenda, so I think,
Okay, let's
We
do
don't
it.
have-
Right, well,
we
I
don't
make a
have an
motion to
agenda.
suspend the rules. We don't even have an agenda.
Second,
okay. I don't know what we're doing. What,
Well,
okay.
either we're going into recess and letting Brian and Councilmember Mashburn and Councilmember Smith to get here, because we have a lot of things that we need to discuss as a council.
well, can we not discuss them at the next council meeting on this issue?
I would much rather not. We're already dealing
gotta
with
call
other
for the
stuff as it
question.
is.
Call for the question.
Can I just, okay, I'd like to vote on it first, and then I can ask Stephanie
Yeah.
my question.
I'm going to call roll.
Okay.
Council member,
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor
Call
to
for the question.
suspend the rules.
Call for the question.
Point of
We
order.
already had
We
it.
had a second.
We had a motion to rescind and a second.
No.
I had a motion to suspend the rules so that we can go into executive session because it's not on the agenda that we did not get.
Okay, Stephanie, we've already had the call for the question. Is that not, do we not do that first?
Is that correct? There was a, okay.
Yes,
I would say
ma'am.
we answer, or we vote for that and then address Rose.
Exactly.
That's the book.
Okay. Roll call.
In response to the call for question, roll call, Councilmember Deeds,
No.
Councilmember Bolden,
No.
Councilmember Blevins,
Yes.
Councilmember
Aye.
Sansing,
No.
Councilmember Mashburn,
No.
Councilmember Trailer,
No.
Councilmember Twitty,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Raines,
How many yeses and how many nos do we have at this point?
I have 5 nays and 3 ayes, and if you give me an aye, I'll have 4. We have 1 member who is absent, and that would be Reedy Ray.
I'm abstaining because, again, I still don't have enough information on this.
The motion is to either uphold,
I get what the
Call for
motion
question.
is.
okay,
Yeah, I'm abstaining.
okay.
What you got?
Motion fails.
Motion fails.
So the call for the question is now, well, the call for the question passed, the motion failed not to interrupt the
Rescind.
call for question. So now we will have a vote on, to rescind 805, Resolution 805. And
Roll
we'll,
call.
What I thought we were voting on.
So
Wait a second now.
what in the world we voting on earlier?
We voted on the
we
call
have
for
to
the
vote
question.
on the call for the
Okay.
question before we vote on.
All right, let's vote again.
Yeah, I thought that was the
I knew some
vote.
of us-
Yeah, I thought that was a vote too. You got me confused.
I don't,
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Okay, now we have a.
can you explain that, what you just said, Susan, please?
The last vote we took was for a call to the question. A call to the question discontinues all discussion, and you, once that passes, you take an immediate vote without further discussion on the article of business.
Okay.
Is my understanding, am I right, Steph?
That's correct.
That's
Susan.
correct.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so here again, a no vote is, a yes vote is to rescind the order, a no vote is to, have it stand.
Yes vote is to kill the deal, a no vote is to keep the deal. Is that right?
Yes. Okay, roll call.
Councilman Deets,
No.
Councilman Bolden,
No.
Councilman Blevins,
Yes.
Councilman Sansing,
No.
Councilman Mashburn,
No.
Councilman Trailer,
No.
Councilman Twitty,
Yes.
Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Councilman Raines,
I'm abstaining.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay,
So it failed, right?
certainly, yes, the deal goes through.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything else we're gonna discuss tonight?
Yeah, the motions that I put on.
Okay, let me ask something. real
Yep.
quick. Is what she's wanting, I don't know what she's wanting to talk about. I got a feeling I know what she wants to talk about, but is that something that can be discussed in an executive session?
If what she's wanting to talk about is the same thing that, yes, it can be discussed in executive session. If you just announce the topic before you go to executive session, that covers us under FOIA.
I wasn't the one that formerly
Yeah,
was asked.
I was the
I'm
one
sorry,
that, I was
Ryan.
the one that
I'm
made
sorry,
the
Rose.
motion to enter executive session.
I made the
Councilmember
motion
Raines
to
made the
suspend the
motion
rules.
To bypass the rules. And it was seconded by, Councilmember Twitty, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, Brian, what, were you going to announce the topic?
It is an HR issue.
Okay.
Okay, so I have.
Okay, I have a question for the city attorney, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we Zoom in executive session?
Because we're in a state of emergency, the FOI laws have been laxed for public meetings, and so, like resuming now, that can be done in executive session as well.
Really?
But we
Perfect.
have to quit live streaming it.
Yes.
So can you
Or
stop?
can we pause live stream?
Yeah, can you pause live streaming?
And then those of
I
us
think we would
who,
just kick everybody out that's not a city council member, then you close access, or you make it private so no one else can enter without a password.
And we quit YouTubing it.
Are we YouTubing this right now?
We are.
yes.
I need some clarification on the motion.